Hello and welcome, everyone. If you're listening to the replay or if you're joining us live today on this Gemini new moon and solar eclipse, very powerful time. So, whatever we manifest at this time, it will be highlighted, accentuated. So, as we prepare our space, I just remind you to turn off your notifications and have your journal handy. It's always great to have a special journal for the new moon so you can look back and visit last month's intentions and your aha moments. And if you have a candle, if not, I can light it for all of us, but if you have your candle, you can light it now as we prepare. Here's my candle, if you don't have one. As is my delight to read poetry during this new moon. And if you ever have a poem that you want me to read, please send it my way, or if you're inclined to write one, I'd love to share it during our ceremony. So today's new moon poem is by Emily Dickinson. The moon was but a chin of gold a night or two ago, and now she turns her perfect face upon the world below. Her forehead is of amplest blonde, her cheek a beryl hewn, her eye unto the summer dew, the likest I have ever known. Her lips of amber never part, but what must be the smile upon her friend she could confer, were such her silver will? And what a privilege to be but the remotest star, for certainty she take her way beside your palace door. Her bonnet is the firmament, the universe her shoe, the stars, the trinklets at her belt, her diminities of blue. So today's new moon is in Gemini, and the symbol of Gemini are the twins. Always able to look at both sides, different perspective. And if you know a Gemini, or if you are a Gemini, hopefully this will relate to you. My moon is in Gemini, so I found this very interesting. And Gemini is in the element of air, which is the masculine or yang energy, and it represents the breath and prana. So when we do our meditation, we'll be focusing in on the breath, the circular breath, and the nostril breathing breath. And for those of you who know, I play the frame drum. The elements are represented on the drum, and the breath is represented by the brushing stroke. Hamza al-Din introduced the element strokes on the frame drum to my teacher's teacher, Lane Redman. So playful and intellectually curious Gemini. They're constantly juggling a variety of passions, hobbies, careers, and friends. They're known as the social butterflies of the zodiac. In fact, in Greek mythology, this sign is represented by the butterfly. So we all love butterflies, especially at this time of year, at the cusp of summer. We've got the summer solstice coming up in a couple of weeks. So who doesn't love watching the energy and flirtation of the butterfly? Also known as quick-witted twins. They can talk to anyone about everything. If you've ever been at a gathering or a party and had a conversation with a Gemini, you might get what I mean. They're always that person that's flitting around between dinner parties and dance floors and buzzing around. They're also very logical and associated with communication and also motion. They like to be moving. Short trips, transportation. I don't know about you, but we're slowly opening up. The chrysalis is breaking open, the butterflies open up at this time. During this time, you may be feeling a little anxious, nervous, excited about the world opening up again. I know I wrote a newsletter last week about the energies that maybe we're feeling, and I was at a party, and I was so engrossed in the energy. I spent 4.5 hours non-stop talking, and then afterwards I collapsed. I was exhausted, just so excited to be around people again and talk and listen and share. Had I known I was there at the party for that long, I may have excused myself, but in the moment I was just absorbing it, and it was a delight. But I had to certainly use some self-care, an hour of self-care afterwards. So let's respect our energy as we re-enter the world, and others too. Gemini is also known as being very versatile, quick thinking, enjoying the moment, understanding the different opinions of others. And they're very heady, logical, stimulating, factual. They love formal education. So today in our guided meditation, we're going to focus on effective communicating. And I will be offering some journal prompts after I almost said medication, but it is. Meditation is medication. After the meditation, we'll be writing, some free-form writing. That's why I want you to have your journal handy, because this is the magical time when we get out of meditation, when we are in stillness and we allow ourselves that time without distraction so we can be totally present. Archetypally, the dark moon is a time to be still, to sit in silence. It's not a time of high activity and visibility, the juxtapose of that being the full moon. So if you're a type of person that loves the full moon, loves to be out there visible, you can benefit from this dark moon, because we can't keep that energy during the whole month, as otherwise we crash and burn. This is very much a part of the women that I work with, my clients, and during the retreats, is we need to rest and we need to honor the inner cycles and look at nature as a guide, the moon, feminine, being our guide during the month. Also, looking at being in the present moment so you can enjoy a positive outlook in life. So you're not constantly analyzing, wondering what's coming next, and creating anxiety, especially around making decisions and guessing and nervousness. The energy of Gemini has a tendency to overanalyze and second guess. So like with any sign or any archetypal energy, there is the shadow side. So we'll be focusing on how to make use of the qualities, but also how to get around the shadow side of this zodiac sign, Gemini. So if you are comfortable, or if you'd like to get yourself comfortable, we're going to begin the meditation. You can lay down, rest your back against the wall, sit on the floor, in your chair, whatever is good for you. I'll give you a couple of minutes to get ready. I'm a big fan of Yoga Nidra, and Tracy Stanley, I've been following her. She talks about getting your Yoga Nidra nest ready, which is anything that makes you more comfortable. I pull out my sheepskin, a couple of pillows, one underneath my legs and one underneath my head, and a blanket, so you completely let go. Of course, if you're sitting, again, feet firmly planted on the ground and your back straight. And the energy, archetypal energy of the new moon, like I said, is stillness. And if we're to equate it with the chakra system, it would be the sacral chakra, the root chakra. And during the moon phases, we would work up through the chakras during the crescent, the waning and the waxing and the quarter moons. There are 8 phases, and the full moon. So let's get yourself rooted and grounded in this womb, this dark womb, this stillness, the dark mother, the great mother, where you're seeding and getting still and clear. So in the element of air, as you close your eyes, thinking about the element of air, the soft whisper of air blowing through the trees, swaying the branches ever so gently. And the air as it brushes through your hair as you stand on that cliff top. The air that carries the seeds of new growth and pollinating the flowers. The air that carries messages of hope and transformation and growth in the direction of east. The cold air in the winter time, and the air that we breathe. Air, oh air, my breath you breathe. Without you, I cannot live. Placing one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. Breathe in through the nose, expanding your belly. And holding for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale on the count of 8. Breathe in on the count of 4. Hold for the count of 5. And exhale on the count of 8. Three more. Last one. Now just observe your breathing. Nothing to do. Just sink into that deliciousness of being held by Mother Earth if you're lying on the floor, or feeling that rootedness through your feet and your root chakra. And as you breathe with nothing to do, and just imagining your lungs inflate like the bellows over your heart, expanding your rib cage. And taking a moment to remember this delicious time of calm and peace, and reminding yourself that you have this tool during your day. It's right here at your fingertips, part of your self-care, tending to yourself so you can best take care of others. And now we're going to focus on the nostril breathing. So taking your thumb, pushing in the right nostril, breathing in through the left for a count of 3. And then closing the left nostril and blowing out, exhaling through the right nostril. Breathe in through the left nostril, closing off the right. Closing off the left, exhaling through the right. Breathing in through the right, closing off, exhaling through the left. Breathing in through the left, closing off the left, exhaling through the right. And keep this going for 3 minutes. And let that go now. Feeling the spaciousness in your nasal cavity and your head space. Feeling that clear sense of mind and that oxygenation of breathing consciously and deeply. Stilling the mind. And today's, keeping your eyes closed, today's new moon affirmation, intention. My body is healthy and strong, free of pain and able to move freely in alignment with my vision for my life. I am well and whole, and my body is free to move and play, enjoying a full range of motion and magic. So continuing with our eyes closed, thinking of a time when you've been listening to someone talk to you. And you're not sure about their point of view, or you want to steer them in another direction. Thinking about a time when maybe it was hard to accept their opinion. If that's happened to you recently. Do you sit and accept their point of view, or do you try and steer them in another direction? Or do you accept their point of view as their own? was that like? Maybe you have a business relationship or partnership where you're not always on the same page. And in your relationship, it could be romantic, business, or family. Are you always looking at what's wrong with the relationship instead of looking at what's right? Has there been a time where all your energy has been focused on what was wrong, so that you become clouded and you miss out on all the good things? Just think about that right now. Is it hard for you to make decisions? You second guess and create a lot of anxiety around making decisions. The what ifs. Has there been a situation that's come up recently or in the past? Maybe something coming up in your immediate future that requires you to make a decision, and you're over-analyzing it or overthinking it. Let's breathe that in. And as we slowly come back to the room, taking a deep breath, sweeping your body, starting with your feet. Let the breath come up through your feet, the backs of your calves, to your knees and your thigh, your hips, coming going through the spine, shoulders, back of the neck, through the hands and the arms, and out through the top of your head, sweeping that energy as we come back slowly when you're ready to the room. The new moon is actually tomorrow evening, I believe at Pacific time. I think around 6 p.m. tomorrow Pacific time. So we're preparing our intentions. The most potent time to write down your intentions is within 8 hours of the new moon. So in preparation, and when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes, come back to the room, notice your surroundings, and take your journal when you're ready. Just checking the time on the new moon. It's actually 3:52 a.m. tomorrow, Pacific time. So if you're ready, keeping this delicious, expansive, mystical escape that you've just experienced during the meditation. The first question is, if you had a twin, what would he or she advise? What advice would she give to you about releasing restless, nervous anxiety? I'll repeat that. If you had a twin, what advice would she give you about releasing restless, nervous anxiety? Using the twin symbol of Gemini, looking at different aspects. Two sides to a story, juxtaposing ideas. What advice would she give you? You can free write whatever comes out. Don't edit it. Just free write. That's 5 minutes. Would that advice be logical and rational? Gemini energy loves action and motion. Oftentimes we can get stuck when we're in an anxious state and not take any action. I don't know how many times I've been writing, sitting in front of the computer, and I can't figure out what to write or how to make my sentence flow onto the next, and I'll take a break and move my body, dance or get outside, and I swear as soon as I step outside I have the answer. I know we've talked about that before, how your brain can only function in one linear state for, I think it's an hour, maybe even less. So to involve a different component of your brain and moving the energy in your body helps us get the answer. Another minute to keep writing on this question. And as you're just wrapping up that question, I'm going to read another poem by Donna Ashworth, and it's from the book To the Women. And it's titled, There's a Woman in My Mirror. There's a woman in my mirror, and she looks a lot like me. Though there are lines around her eyes, and her hair is wild and free. She is plumper than myself, and she is definitely grey. Did I miss the day this happened? Has she always been that way? And this woman in the mirror has an air of something calm, like a tide that's going out, and a beach that's soft and warm. She has seen the world in colour. She has learned to know the truth. There is wisdom in her wrinkles. There's a knowledge brought from youth. And she seems to move more freely, as though released from earthly binds. Is she made of something lighter? Perhaps the weight she left behind. Like the press of expectation and the need to yield and bend. I like this woman in the mirror. She's becoming my best friend. Now the next question. What are some actions you can take to start focusing on what's right with your relationships? What are some actions you can take to start focusing on what's right with your relationship? And that could be love, friendship, family. If you've been focusing on the negative. And if you haven't, maybe it's time to truly honor your relationship. The shadow side of Gemini is a tendency to focus on the negative and what's missing in a relationship. During this past year, with having such a routine at home, my husband and I kind of joke about it now, but it's like, oh no, not you again at the dinner table. The routine was starting to get to me, because as much as I love a routine for a groundedness, I do like a little variety. So I turned it around and told myself, no, this is our ritual. This is our ritual of getting together in the evening, having dinner, sitting at the same table in the same seats, looking across from each other. It's our ritual. And it was so easy just to get frustrated and think, gosh, I wish he would wear a different shirt, or I wish he would be willing to change seats with me at the table. So I turned it around. I was grateful to have him in my life and to have the grounding foundation of being together. So, what action can you take? Another minute. So Geminis can suffer from excessive questioning and indecision. So this is the question, how can you enjoy the moment and release the need to question everything that ultimately affects you making decisions? How how can I put it in? How can I enjoy the moment and release the need to question everything that ultimately affects my making decisions? Do you need to practice gratitude? When was the last time you wrote down things you were grateful for in your life? I really enjoy, before I go to bed, thinking about 5 things I'm grateful for that happened during the day. And if that's new to you, you could maybe start with 3. But just the act of writing them down and being grateful can be very helpful. Yeah, when you're writing what you're grateful for at the end of the day, you really want to write down different things that you're grateful for. Honestly, I think that just the sheer act of writing down things that you're grateful for makes you or inspires you to create things that you're grateful for. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't have anything else to write, it's every day is the same, then I invite you to create things that you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be elaborate, it could just be taking your dog out for a walk, which maybe you do anyway, but maybe noticing the jacaranda trees that are out right now that maybe you hadn't noticed, or leaving your phone at home. Oftentimes on my walks, I'll see people talking on their phones while they're walking their animals, and I think they're just missing out on that time when they could be observing nature and drinking it all in, and missing the time too with their animals. Or even just noticing, I know we talked about the element of air, that Gemini is in the element of air, and noticing that subtle breeze right now. I know some of us live near the ocean, and just having those cooling spring breezes. I'm so grateful for that. And seeing nature in motion, seeing the trees and the leaves move in the trees. I could be grateful for that. So a couple more minutes. So as you look back on your journal writing, um, you can start creating your affirmations for the month. And affirmations are you write them in the present tense as if they've already happened. But maybe you need a little bit more time um, to create these. But the journal writing is the appetizer, so to speak. For example, if you want to write an affirmation about feeling relaxed and releasing anxiety, you could write something like, I easily find myself taking 3 deep breaths to relax. And Gemini rules lungs and breathing and your nervous system. So if you want to focus on moving your body and breathing, I find myself easily taking action that leads to my successfully restoring my blank. Another affirmation could be, if you're getting the idea, of course, is I release self-defeating tendencies. And by writing them out as opposed to typing them too is very important, and you can put them around your home as we work through the Gemini. And notice next time you're at a gathering, I'm sure we're all starting to gather now, how are you feeling about communicating again? I think it's just incredible that we're in Gemini right now, with this new moon's in Gemini, with the fact that we are all gathering again, and that maybe we need a little fine-tuning. Maybe we've forgotten how to truly listen to one another in the flesh, so to speak. I mean, it's been very different communicating on Zoom and on the phone, right? It's not a whole body experience. So it's almost like relearning how to be totally present with someone. And then someone being totally present with us too. Interesting times. So again, I thank you for joining and spending the time and doing the work during this new moon. And next new moon is in Cancer, and it is July 9th, and that's a Friday. So I invite you to move your body, dance, and move these emotions through your body, and hydrate. And I'll be sending out emails during the month as we work through the different phases of the moon. And look up into the moon. Who has been observing the moon phases since we've been doing this? Next session is Friday, July 9th, correct? Yes, at 9 a.m. So who else has been observing the moon in the sky? Yes, we had a blood moon this month, right? And pay attention to the full moon, which is, I know I wrote it down in the email, the 24th. No, that's not right. When is the full moon? I think it is. Is it the 24th? Yeah, it is the 24th. I was right. Okay, and it's in Capricorn. Yes. So a time to manifest our dreams. The new moon. We'll move through the moon phases, the waxing crescent, then the first quarter, the waxing gibbous as we approach the full moon, the waning gibbous, and the last quarter, and the waning crescent before the cycle starts again. So I wish you all a beautiful day or evening, and again, thank you for joining. This has been such a joyful experience, sitting in this dark womb space. And again, I thank you for joining, and I will see you next week, and look out for your emails.